right now, basically 1 out of every 5 times someone asks ChatGPT a question on the free tier, there's this silent auction happening in the background.
Yeah, completely invisible to the user.
Exactly. An algorithm is just instantly calculating probabilities, weighing relevance, and, deciding which company's advertisement is going to be slipped right into what feels like completely objective AI advice.
It's wild to watch. We are literally watching the era of the traditional search engine end in real time.
Yeah.
The era of the AI concierge has officially begun, and, well, it is entirely upending how human beings find out about your business.
Which is huge, and it's why we're here. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is really highly specific. We are cutting straight through the, deafening noise of this week's digital marketing news cycle to deliver a synthesized summary.
Right.
And more importantly, actionable tactical tips tailored specifically for you, the small and medium-sized business owner. Because let's be real, you don't have a 50-person marketing department.
No, definitely not.
You need to know what matters right now, today, so you can adapt your strategy by Monday morning.
And to accomplish that, we are looking at a really tightly curated stack of sources today. We aren't dealing in generic predictions for a decade from now. We are unpacking intelligence published within the last 7 days.
Yeah, the ink is practically still wet on these. Our research pack today pulls from a massive Wired investigation into OpenAI, a financial report from Search Engine Land, some really sharp strategic analysis from Digiday,
Yep.
breaking news regarding Google from Search Engine Journal, and finally, a brand new tactical update straight from Google's ads and commerce blog.
Right. And if there's one overarching theme tying all these disparate pieces of intelligence together, it's this. The fundamental mechanics of how customers discover your business are shifting beneath our feet.
Massively.
We're moving decisively away from traditional search mechanics, where a user types a fragmented keyword into a box and gets a list of blue links to sort through.
The old way.
Right. And we're moving into a world of generative discovery. The AI interface is basically becoming the new main street.
Absolutely. So by the end of this deep dive, you won't just know what the headlines say. I mean, anyone can scroll a newsfeed and panic about AI taking over.
Oh yeah, plenty of panic out there.
But you will understand the underlying mechanics of how these systems work, why they are changing, and exactly how to position your business to capitalize on these shifts before your competitors even realize the rules of the game have been rewritten. We're essentially handing you the playbook for the new internet.
I love that. And to understand where business strategy is heading, we really have to examine the biggest structural shift currently underway, which is the transformation of AI assistants into highly monetized ad inventory.
Right. They're not just fun toys anymore.
Exactly. They are shedding their status as mere novelty brainstorming tools and becoming massive commercial engines.
So let's get into this first piece of intelligence from the Wired investigation because it's fascinating. It really quantifies what I think a lot of us suspected was already happening.
Yeah, everyone kind of felt it coming.
Right. So Wired researchers essentially stress-tested ChatGPT. They ran hundreds of varied queries to sort of map the current commercial landscape of the platform. And their findings revealed that ChatGPT is now serving native advertisements in roughly 20% of free tier queries.
20%. I mean, that figure is staggering when you consider the sheer, just incomprehensible volume of queries OpenAI handles every single day.
Billions.
Right, we were talking about billions of interactions. But, the raw percentage only tells part of the story here. The Wired investigation noted that these ad placements weren't just random.
No, they were super targeted.
Exactly. They were heavily concentrated around very specific prompt topics, primarily travel, education, and software.
Right. So if I ask the AI to, write a silly poem about my dog, I just get a poem, no ads.
Right. Zero commercial intent there.
But if I type in, plan a 5-day itinerary for Rome with a focus on historical sites, or what's the best project management software for a remote team of 10? That commercial intent triggers that silent auction we were talking about at the top of the show.
Precisely. The AI is parsing the semantic intent of your prompt. It recognizes that a user asking for a Rome itinerary is highly likely to need a hotel, a flight, or, a local tour guide.
Yeah, they're ready to buy.
Exactly. And a user asking about project management software is way lower in the purchasing funnel. This represents a profound conceptual shift in digital advertising. I mean, we are moving away from the traditional moment of search directly into the moment of advice.
Okay, the moment of advice. That's a great phrase. Let's dig into the architecture of that for a second. Because in traditional search, a user types something fragmented like best CRM software.
Right, caveman speak.
Yeah, and the search engine uses a keyword matching system. It looks at its index, finds pages that contain those exact words or variations of them, and just returns a massive list.
A giant haystack.
Right. The ads sit at the top, the organic links below, but the cognitive load, like the actual hard work of solving the problem, is entirely on the user.
Exactly.
They have to click the links, read the landing pages, compare features across multiple tabs, and make a decision all by themselves. The search engine just provided the raw materials.
Yeah, the search engine is basically a librarian pointing to a shelf and saying, there you go, figure it out.
Right.
But when a user approaches an AI assistant, they're rarely typing those fragmented keywords anymore. They're communicating in natural language.
Which changes everything.
It does. They're saying, hey, I run a small graphic design agency. We currently use scattered spreadsheets to track client projects, but deadlines are slipping. We have a strict budget of $50 a month and need something that integrates with our email. What is the best CRM for us?
So that user isn't asking for a list of links.
Not at all.
They are asking for a consultant to do the heavy lifting of synthesis for them. They want the AI to read the whole internet, compare the features against their highly specific parameters, and return a final verdict.
Exactly. And when the AI responds, it synthesizes all those complex criteria and provides a really tailored recommendation. Now, visualize your business presented right there, natively embedded within that text.
Wow.
Right. At the exact moment the AI outputs based on your need for email integration and a $50 budget, you should strongly consider XYZ software. Your sponsored placement sits right next to or even within that tailored advice.
That's incredibly powerful.
The psychology here is potent. I mean, a user is fundamentally more primed to convert in that environment than someone blindly clicking a banner ad on a blog, mostly because the AI has seemingly already done the vetting for them.
Okay, but I have to pause here and look at this from the user's perspective, though. Because the entire value proposition of a large language model acting as an assistant is the perception of objectivity, right?
Yeah.
I use these tools because I feel like I'm getting an unbiased synthesis of information. If I know that an algorithm is slipping a paid advertisement into the conversation 1 out of every 5 times I ask for help, doesn't that inherently degrade the trust that makes the platform valuable in the first place? I mean, it feels a bit like injecting a slimy salesperson into a therapy session.
It really does. And honestly, the platform engineers are acutely aware of that tension. It is the central tightrope OpenAI and all the others are walking right now.
Because if they mess it up, people leave.
Exactly. If these ads operate like those obnoxious pop-ups from the late 90s, or if they recommend a terrible product simply because the advertiser paid the highest bid, user trust will just evaporate overnight.
Right.
The mitigation strategy relies on extreme contextual relevance.
So the ad isn't just random interruption. It actually has to function as a highly relevant continuation of the AI's logic.
Exactly that. The Wired piece details how these insertions are formatted. They're clearly labeled as sponsored, they have to be, but they are native to the format. If the ad actually solves the user's hyper-specific problem, like if it genuinely is a CRM that costs under $50 and integrates with email, the user views the placement not as an intrusion, but as a frictionless next step.
I see.
Right. The AI recommended a solution, and oh look, here is a convenient little button to implement that exact solution immediately.
It turns the advertisement into a utility.
Yeah.
So for a small or medium-sized business owner listening to this right now, the immediate takeaway isn't to panic and throw your entire marketing budget at OpenAI tomorrow. The actionable lesson from the Wired investigation is that you must become, quote, recommendation ready.
Recommendation ready. That's the key phrase. And becoming recommendation ready requires a pretty massive shift in how you build your digital assets.
Let's break that down.
Sure. The source material outlines several critical pillars for this. You need sharp category positioning, credible reviews, strong landing pages, clear offers, and brand language that matches real customer questions.
Okay, let's translate sharp category positioning into the actual mechanics of an LLM, because that sounds a bit like corporate jargon. An AI model categorizes massive amounts of text using vector embeddings, right?
Yep.
Which is essentially turning concepts into numbers and grouping similar numbers together in a database. So if a business website is covered in vague, clever copywriting like, we architect synergistic, paradigm-shifting solutions for the modern enterprise, The AI cannot map that to a concrete category.
No, it has no idea what that means. It creates a very weak semantic signal.
Right.
When a user asks the AI for a local commercial plumber, the AI searches its multidimensional map for entities strongly associated with the concepts of plumbing, commercial, and that specific location.
Makes sense.
But if your website says we handle fluid dynamic infrastructure solutions,
Which some people actually write.
they do, but mathematically you are distant from the user's prompt. You must explicitly repeatedly state what you do, who you do it for, and where you operate.
So the machine needs raw, unmistakable data points. And I'm guessing the same logic applies to the credible reviews pillar you mentioned. Because AI models are trained on the open web. They scrape Yelp, Google business profiles, Reddit threads, specialized forums, all to gauge sentiment.
Exactly. They're acting as massive aggregators of human consensus.
Right.
If you have a terrible reputation on third-party sites, or if your brand name is constantly associated with the words scam or broken in public forums, the AI's internal weights will naturally reflect that negative sentiment.
That's scary, but it makes sense.
It is highly unlikely to surface your business when a user asks for the most reliable option in your category, regardless of how much money you try to bid for the placement.
Because it would ruin the AI's credibility to recommend a known scam.
Exactly. And the final piece of being recommendation ready is mirroring real customer questions in your brand language.
Okay, what does that look like?
Well, if the user is prompting the AI with, what's the best CRM for a 5-person agency? Okay, your website content needs to naturally answer those conversational questions. If your site reads like a dense 1,000-page technical manual, the AI might really struggle to extract the simple conversational answer the user wants.
You have to be fundamentally clear and helpful. The era of tricking algorithms with invisible keyword stuffing is just over.
I'm over.
You have to be the objectively best answer to a very specific set of conditions. And you need to start treating these AI assistants as an emerging lead generation surface today, not as some futuristic sci-fi concept.
Absolutely. Now, knowing that AI ads exist in the wild and understanding the theory behind them is a great foundation.
Right.
But knowing when you can actually log in, set a budget, and start running these campaigns, that is what transforms this from a neat technology story into an urgent business strategy.
Yes. And the timeline for broad commercial access is accelerating much faster than most industry analysts predicted, isn't it?
It really is.
So let's look at our second source, which is this detailed financial report from Search Engine Land. It reveals the sheer velocity of this rollout. OpenAI's ad business is scaling at just a breathtaking pace. From their initial highly restricted pilot phase alone, they have already hit over $100 million in annualized ad revenue.
100 million. And the truly fascinating element of that data point is the underlying user base. The Search Engine Land report emphasizes that this $100 million milestone was achieved with fewer than 20% of eligible U.S. users even seeing the ads yet.
Wait, fewer than 20%?
Yeah.
So they haven't even fully opened the faucet. They're basically just testing the plumbing with a fraction of their audience, and it's already generating $100 million.
It's unbelievable.
The scale of human attention currently locked inside these conversational interfaces is unprecedented.
It is. And the crucial piece of intelligence for our listeners is the timeline attached to this growth. The report states that self-serve advertiser access is expected to roll out in April.
And since we are in late March 2026 right now, we are literally days away from a massive shift in market access.
Days away.
Now, when the report says self-serve access, my mind immediately goes back to the early days of Facebook advertising or, even the launch of Google AdWords way back when.
Oh, yeah, the golden days.
Right. Initially, these platforms operate behind a velvet rope. They use a managed service model. They only work directly with massive enterprise brands, the airlines, the global software conglomerates.
Because they need huge budgets.
Exactly. You need a dedicated account representative. And you usually have to commit to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month just to participate in the beta test.
And that managed phase allows the platform to figure out ad formats, measure user backlash, and optimize their delivery algorithms in a really highly controlled environment.
Right. But dropping that velvet rope for self-serve changes the entire ecosystem. It means a local bakery owner, a freelance graphic designer, or, a regional accounting firm can just log into a portal, set a daily budget of $50, upload their assets, and go live without needing permission from some tech executive in Silicon Valley.
It completely democratizes the inventory.
Exactly.
And for an SMB owner looking at their marketing budget right now, understanding the mechanics of a new platform launch is just critical. The source explicitly mentions the concept of the early mover advantage.
Which is huge in digital marketing.
Right. Whenever a massive new pool of ad inventory opens up to the public, there is this brief, highly profitable window of arbitrage.
So it's basically an issue of supply and demand within the digital auction.
Exactly.
When self-serve opens in April, OpenAI will suddenly have millions of ad slots of the supply available across all those user chats. But the demand, the advertisers actually figuring out how to bid on those slots, will be relatively low in the first few weeks.
Because the massive enterprise brands move slowly.
Right, they're stuck in meetings.
Exactly. They are bogged down in committee meetings trying to get legal compliance to approve their new AI ad copy, or waiting for their agency of record to build some massive 6-month strategy. Because the auction isn't crowded yet, the cost to win a placement is incredibly low.
So you can acquire highly targeted leads for pennies on the dollar, simply because your local competitors haven't even figured out how to set up an account yet.
Precisely. You must treat this as an immediate tactical priority. You don't need to bet the future of your company on it, obviously.
Right, don't empty the bank account.
But setting aside a small test budget to understand the interface, the bidding mechanics, and the performance metrics of AI conversational ads, the moment that portal opens is essential.
Because if you wait,
If you wait 6 months to see case studies from other businesses, the auction will be saturated, the cost per click will absolutely skyrocket, and the arbitrage window will be slammed shut.
Okay, so we've mapped out the paid side of the equation pretty thoroughly. If you want to guarantee visibility in the moment of advice, you pay the toll, and that toll booth opens to small businesses in a matter of days.
Yep.
But what if you don't have the budget to bid on every relevant prompt? If paid advertising is moving directly into AI chats, organic discovery has to be following the exact same trajectory, right?
Absolutely.
You can't just rely on paid placements. You have to earn your right to be cited naturally within the generative answers.
And this is arguably the most profound structural shift we are covering today because it impacts the absolute bedrock of digital marketing, which is search engine optimization.
SEO. So let's bring in our third source, which is a strategic report from Digiday. They're highlighting a massive reallocation of capital across the marketing landscape. Brands are actively shifting growing portions of their search budgets away from traditional SEO and toward a new discipline called GEO, Generative Engine Optimization.
GEO. It's the new buzzword, but it's real. GEO is the natural, necessary evolution of organic discovery. And to understand why budgets are moving, we really have to look at the mechanical failure of traditional SEO in a generative environment.
Okay, let's look at that failure. Because traditional SEO was entirely built around the concept of the blue links.
Right.
You spent months optimizing your title tags, acquiring backlinks from high-authority domains, tweaking your site speed, and the entire goal was to be the #1 blue link on the Google search engine results page.
Yep.
If you won that top spot, you captured roughly 30% of the human clicks for that keyword. It was a winner-take-all game based entirely on human click-through rates.
But the mechanics of a generative engine completely bypass the click.
Pass out.
Well, when a user asks an AI assistant a question, the underlying technology, which is usually a system called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RA, goes out to the web, reads the top 10 or 20 links in literal milliseconds, extracts the relevant facts, and synthesizes them into a beautifully written 3-paragraph answer right there in the chat interface.
So the user gets their answer immediately.
Exactly. They never scroll down. They never click the blue link. The traffic that used to flow to your website is intercepted and consumed entirely within the AI's interface.
Wow, so this represents the death of the blue links obsession. The Digiday report makes it pretty clear that being the #1 hidden link beneath an AI summary offers almost zero commercial value if the user's journey ends at the summary.
It's useless.
Therefore, the new mandate for SMBs is to stop treating organic search as a rankings-only game.
Right. The goal isn't to be a link below the answer anymore. The goal is to be the entity cited inside the generated answer.
Okay, I'm trying to visualize the difference between these two strategies. So, if I own a local, authentic Italian restaurant, old SEO was like buying the biggest, brightest billboard on the main highway leading into town. I pay for the prominent placement, I optimize the giant text, and I just rely on the sheer broadcast visibility to make drivers pull off the exit.
Yeah, a classic broadcast model relying purely on volume.
Right. But GEO operates on an entirely different mechanism. GEO is like spending your time ensuring that every hotel concierge, every taxi driver, and every popular local bartender in town inherently knows your restaurant has the best handmade
Ah,
pasta.
that's a great analogy.
So when a tourist gets off the train and asks literally anyone, hey, where should I eat? The collective synthesized knowledge of the town points them directly to you.
Exactly. The AI engine acts as that collective town knowledge. When it executes a retrieval-augmented generation process, it is scraping local directories, reading press mentions, parsing structured data on your website, and evaluating customer reviews across the board.
It's looking everywhere.
Right. If the AI is going to confidently recommend your authentic Italian restaurant, it needs to find a mathematical consensus across all those disparate digital nodes that you are, in fact, the best option for the user-specific prompt.
Okay, but how does a small business actually engineer that consensus? Because the Digit piece specifically mentions two things: structured content and AI visibility work. What does that look like in practice for a local business owner just sitting at their computer trying to do GEO?
Well, it connects directly to how large language models ingest data. An LLM does not read a website the way a human does,
Obviously.
right? A human can look at a beautiful background image of Tuscany, read a clever headline like "Experience the Magic of Italy in Austin," and immediately infer that it's an Italian restaurant.
Right, our brains fill in the gaps.
Exactly. But an AI needs structured, machine-readable data.
So we are talking about things like schema markup, right?
Yeah.
The invisible code that labels the elements on your page for search engines.
Schema markup is vital, yes.
Yeah.
It explicitly tells the AI, hey, this string of text is the business address, this number over here is the price of the tasting menu. These are the exact operating hours.
Okay.
But beyond the invisible code, structured content means organizing your actual written copy into logical, factual hierarchies. You must move away from flowery, vague marketing fluff and toward crystal clear information architecture.
Give me an example of that.
So instead of hiding your menu in a massive, unreadable PDF, which so many restaurants do,
Oh, yes, the worst.
right, instead of that, you need a clean HTML page with clear heading tags. H1, authentic Italian restaurant in downtown Austin. H2, handmade pasta menu. H3, truffle gnocchi, $24.
I see.
You are providing the AI with the clean, raw ingredients it needs to quickly cook its answer.
You are literally feeding the machine.
Exactly. And the AI visibility work mentioned in the source extends beyond your own domain too.
What do you mean?
You have to engage in the external spaces where the AI models are continuously pulling fresh data. Are you answering questions in industry-specific subreddits? Are you ensuring your business information is identical across every single local directory? Are you actively generating PR that results in brand mentions on high-authority news sites?
So it's about building a web of validation.
Yes, you are trying to build a digital footprint that screams your specific category positioning so consistently that the RIG system cannot possibly ignore you when it synthesizes a response.
That's a fundamental shift in metrics then, because you might look at your Google Analytics and see that your raw website traffic is down 30%,
Yeah.
simply because the AI is answering the user's question before they ever click your link.
And that will terrify a lot of people.
Right. But if you are executing GEO correctly, the users who do click through or who just call your business directly from the phone number in the AI prompt are incredibly high intent.
Very high intent.
They are arriving at your door already convinced they want to hire you or eat at your restaurant because their trusted AI concierge explicitly told them to.
Exactly. You are trading low-value vanity traffic for highly qualified, pre-vetted leads.
Which is a good trade. But, shifting from a ranking strategy to a recommendation strategy requires overhauling a lot of legacy thinking. And while we are frantically trying to figure out how to optimize for ChatGPT and these new generative search experiences, we cannot ignore the traditional search platforms.
Definitely not. Google is still the massive elephant in the room.
Right. Google is not just standing still while OpenAI reshapes the internet. They are deploying their own AI to fundamentally alter how they display our carefully crafted content in their traditional search results.
And this leads us to the crucial intelligence from Search Engine Journal. This update is critical for anyone whose revenue still relies heavily on Google search traffic.
Which, let's be honest, is still the vast majority of small and medium-sized businesses today.
Oh, absolutely.
So the report indicates that Google is now actively testing AI headline rewrites within its traditional main search product. They had previously tested this pattern in the smaller Google Discover feed, but moving it to the core search engine is a massive escalation.
The implications for website owners are severe here because it represents a complete loss of editorial control over how you appear to a searching user.
Loss of control. Marketers are going to hate that. Let's break down the mechanics of what is actually changing here. Historically, as a business owner or a marketer, you had a significant amount of control over your search snippet.
You had total control, pretty much.
Right. You wrote a specific title tag in your website's backend. You crafted a compelling meta description. You treated that 55-character headline like a high-value micro billboard.
Yep.
You spent hours agonizing over the exact phrasing, ensuring it contained the primary keyword, communicated a clear benefit, and ended with a psychological hook to maximize the click-through rate.
It was a highly refined discipline. I mean, you were writing specifically to manipulate human psychology within a constrained pixel width.
But according to the Search Engine Journal report, Google is experimenting with just stripping that control away entirely. Instead of displaying the title tag you carefully wrote, Google's AI models will crawl your page, use natural language processing to determine what the page is actually about, and dynamically generate a brand new headline for the search result.
Yeah, without asking you.
A headline tailored specifically to what the AI believes the individual user wants to see based on their specific query.
Because Google's goal is to increase the relevance of the search result for the user, right?
Right.
If the user searches for emergency pipe repair, but your title tag says Chicago's best plumber voted #1, Google's AI might dynamically rewrite your headline to read 24/7 emergency pipe repair in Chicago.
Just changing it on the fly.
Exactly, because its NLP analysis of your page confirmed you actually offer that service, and that specific phrasing is mathematically more likely to earn the click from that specific user.
Okay, from a business owner's perspective, this sounds absolutely terrifying. It invalidates decades of copywriting best practices. If I spend resources crafting the perfect click-through messaging and an algorithm is just going to overwrite it with whatever dynamic text it wants, why should I even bother writing good headlines?
I hear that argument a lot.
Shouldn't I just dump a raw spreadsheet of services and prices onto a web page and let Google's AI figure out how to sell it to the user?
The instinct to surrender to the machine is understandable, but dumping raw, unstructured data is the most dangerous thing you could do in this scenario.
Why?
It ignores the fundamental concept of garbage in, garbage out in machine learning.
Ah, the AI can only summarize what is actually there.
Precisely.
Hmm.
Google's NLP models identify entities and concepts by analyzing the semantic relationships of the words on your page. If your page is a messy, incoherent dump of data, the AI might hallucinate.
It might just make things up.
Right. It might misinterpret your core value proposition entirely, or it might simply classify your page as low-quality, unhelpful content and refuse to rank it at all. The source material points to the only viable defense against this AI takeover, and that is absolute, undeniable on-page clarity.
So your copywriting discipline shifts from the invisible meta tags directly to the visible page content.
Yes. If you can no longer rely on a finely tuned title tag to bait a user into clicking, the actual content of the page must make its value entirely obvious the literal millisecond the user arrives. Furthermore, your clean, repetitive brand language is exactly what trains the AI on how to rewrite your headline in the first place.
I see. So if my entire page repeatedly and clearly reinforces that we are the fastest emergency plumber in Chicago, with clear headers, bullet points detailing our response times, and structured schema markup confirming our 247 hours, I am essentially forcing the AI's hand.
Yes, you are.
Even if Google decides to rewrite my title tag, the NLP entity extraction is highly likely to pull the concepts of fast, emergency, and Chicago into its dynamic headline because that is the undeniable mathematical truth of my page.
Exactly. You are no longer writing a clever snippet to trick a human. You are engineering your page content to ensure your core business truth survives the AI's translation process.
That's a great way to put it.
It demands a level of foundational clarity that many SMB websites currently lack, frankly. You cannot hide a weak product or confusing pricing behind a clickbait title anymore. The machine will see right through the fluff, extract the facts, and present them plainly to the user.
So the overarching theme across all of these shifts, whether we are talking about being recommendation ready for ChatGPT's new ad network, structuring content for GEO and RAG systems, or creating hyper-clear pages to survive Google's dynamic rewrites, is an absolute demand for clarity.
Clarity is the new currency.
The AI ecosystem punishes ambiguity and rewards factual, structured clarity.
It is a very rigorous environment, and for a small business owner listening to this breakdown, it probably sounds incredibly overwhelming right now.
Honestly, yeah. We are basically telling you that your entire digital footprint needs an overhaul. You need new types of structured assets. You need to monitor AI mentions. and you need impeccable on-page clarity. It sounds like a mandate to hire a full-time agency and triple your marketing budget just to survive.
Which is exactly why we are pivoting to our final piece of intelligence for today.
Yes, let's get tactical.
We've covered the massive strategic tectonic shifts. Now we need a highly tactical execution strategy. If you are wondering how your small team can possibly generate all these new assets and adapt to this AI-driven landscape efficiently, our final source provides the specific tool you need.
Thank goodness. This update comes directly from the Google Ads and Commerce blog, specifically detailing their demand gen drop from March 2026. It introduces a massive tactical equalizer for SMBs, a tool called VEO.
VEO.
So let's set the baseline here. What exactly is VEO, and how does it solve the asset creation bottleneck we've been talking about?
Okay, so VEO is an advanced AI video generation model specifically, a video diffusion model that Google has now integrated natively right into the Google Ads platform.
Okay.
The critical application highlighted in the blog is that advertisers can now take their existing static images and use VEO to generate high-quality dynamic video variations directly within the campaign builder.
Wait, so instead of needing a film crew, a lighting setup, and a professional video editor using complex software, I just need a high-quality product photo.
That's it, just the photo. The historical barrier to entry for small businesses wanting to compete on visually driven, high-engagement platforms like YouTube Shorts or demand gen campaigns has always been the sheer cost and friction of video production.
Oh, absolutely. High-quality video is crazy expensive and time-consuming.
Right. VEO effectively democratizes that capability.
The mechanics of a diffusion model doing this are wild to me. It's not just like panning across the image or zooming in like a basic slideshow.
No, it's generative.
The AI is actually analyzing the static image, adding artificial noise to it, and then using its training data to hallucinate and predict how the pixels should move over time to create temporal consistency. It literally brings a still image to life.
It's incredible technology.
But the Google Ads blog didn't just announce the tool, they provided specific performance data on what kinds of video assets are actually converting right now.
Yes, and this is the most important part. They noted a very specific trend. Creator partnerships boost conversion lift by an average of 30% on YouTube Shorts, while maintaining CPA cost per acquisition efficiency.
Okay, if I'm an SMB owner, I might hear creator partnerships and think, great, I need a $10,000 budget to hire a massive influencer to do a trending dance with my product.
Right, which you don't have. But you don't need celebrity influencers.
Okay, good.
The signal here is about the style of the asset. The market, especially the algorithm powering YouTube Shorts, demands native-looking creative. A highly polished 30-second corporate television commercial looks entirely out of place on a vertical video feed.
Oh yeah, users scroll right past it. It feels like an intrusion.
Exactly.
No.
Native-looking means it feels like organic content created by a real person.
It feels authentic. It feels like someone giving a genuine recommendation rather than a brand broadcasting a stiff corporate message.
Yep.
Which, ironically, loops right back to our concept of the moment of advice.
It's all connected, and this is exactly where VEO becomes a tactical superpower for an SMB.
Give me the playbook.
Here is the practical, step-by-step playbook you can execute on Monday morning. Go to your existing digital assets. Find your top 3 to 5 static images, the photos of your product or service that you know already resonate with your current customers.
Okay.
Upload those static images into Google Ads and run them through VEO to generate several short, dynamic video variants.
So instantly, you now have motion assets without shooting any new footage.
Exactly. Next, you pair those AI-generated product shots with creator-style assets.
What does that mean for a small business?
This could simply be you, the business owner, holding your phone vertically, looking directly into the camera and explaining why you started your business or how your service solves a specific problem.
Very raw, very authentic.
Right. You use the platform's basic editing tools to splice your authentic face-to-camera video with the high-quality VEO-generated motion shots of your product.
Wow. You've just created a native creator-style advertisement that looks completely at home on YouTube Shorts, and you're leveraging that 30% conversion lift the data promises.
Then, you set up an A/B test. You run this new AI-assisted video creative against your old static image campaigns. The data strongly suggests the native video will outperform the static image, driving a lower cost per acquisition.
This tool essentially solves the volume problem, because to succeed in GEO, to capture the early mover advantage in ChatGPT's new ad network and to survive Google's dynamic search results, you need a massive, diverse library of recommendation-ready assets.
You need a lot of them.
Veo is the lever that allows a two-person team to actually build that necessary asset library without burning out or going bankrupt. It takes one single piece of creative and multiplies its utility exponentially across the new AI ecosystem.
It is so rare to see an AI creative update that isn't just a conceptual toy, but a highly practical tool immediately usable to drive measurable business outcomes. It allows you to adapt your visual strategy as fast as the platforms are adapting their algorithms.
We have covered a massive amount of highly technical, highly strategic ground today. Let's pull all of this together and really recap the journey we've just mapped out for the new digital landscape.
Let's do it.
We started with the realization from Wired that AI chatbots are actively monetizing. ChatGPT is currently running invisible ad auctions on 1 out of every 5 free queries. This is shifting the primary battleground of consumer discovery away from the fragmented moment of search and directly into the synthesized moment of advice.
And that new battleground is about to open up to the broader market. Search Engine Land confirmed that the self-serve portal for these conversational ads is launching in April.
Days away.
The velvet rope is dropping, creating a critical, time-sensitive window of arbitrage for agile SMBs who are willing to test the auction dynamics before the massive enterprise brands flood the platform and drive up the cost per click.
Then, on the organic side, Digiday showed us that search strategy must fundamentally pivot. We are moving away from traditional SEO, the obsessive pursuit of human clicks on those blue links, and embracing generative engine optimization.
Right.
The new mandate is to structure your website's data and build undeniable category positioning so that retrieval-augmented generation systems cite you as the consensus answer.
Simultaneously, Search Engine Journal revealed that Google is weaponizing its own natural language processing models to rewrite title tags dynamically. The era of clever clickbait is totally over. The only defense is absolute on-page clarity, ensuring your core brand message is so structurally sound that the AI cannot misinterpret it.
Finally, to fuel this entire structural shift, Google's introduction of Veo allows small teams to democratize video ad creation. You can use diffusion models to transform a handful of static images into a diverse library of native-looking video assets that drive higher conversions in places like YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
From top to bottom, the entire digital ecosystem is abandoning the paradigm of search and adopting the paradigm of AI-mediated recommendation.
It is an incredibly rigorous shift. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but it is a shift that ultimately rewards businesses that can communicate with crystal clarity, move with agility when new platforms open, and maintain authenticity in how they present themselves.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We promise to cut through the noise, and if you apply these mechanics, you now have a clear, actionable playbook for the weeks and months ahead.
Absolutely.
Before we sign off, though, we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over as you look at your marketing strategy this weekend.
Yeah, I want you to think back to the metaphor we used early on the physical storefront on Main Street. In the physical world, your visibility was obvious. You could literally look out the window and see who was walking by.
Right.
In this new era of generative discovery, your digital footprint is your entire storefront, but it's being evaluated by machines, not humans.
Yeah.
So ask yourself this. If an AI assistant was tasked with summarizing your business's core value based entirely on the raw data currently written on your website and your third-party reviews, what would it actually output?
That is a very uncomfortable mirror to hold up to your own business.
It really is. Would the AI confidently recommend you to a highly qualified lead? Or would the machine's logic bypass you entirely and recommend the competitor down the street simply because their digital footprint is structured better, their entity positioning is clearer, and their data is easier for an algorithm to parse?
It's a huge question.
You must begin looking at your business not just through the emotional eyes of a human customer, but through the cold parsing logic of an AI concierge. The businesses that master that dual translation will be the ones that absolutely dominate this new era.
We'll see you next time.